Welcome to the Isle Chat podcast with me, Beth.
Josh.
And Ryan.
This podcast is all about exploring the big questions, the small moments and everything in between.
Whether you're stuck at the shops, in traffic or just looking for some inspiration, our chat is here to keep you engaged.
It's time to talk, connect and find meaning in those everyday moments.
Welcome to the Isle Chat.
I think once...
Josh, was that you?
No.
It was.
Are you having me on?
Which?
No.
You just heard, I think.
No, I'm just moving to
That's a
get
little
comfy.
fart then.
Fucking I'm not that ballsy. I'm not. Can you imagine me just cocking up my leg and farting?
Yeah, I can't actually.
So can I.
I can't. And I'd love...
Imagine
do
you
you know
starting
what?
and going, I need to go for a shit.
The funny thing is, I'd love to like be at a wedding and like that happened, like it'd slip out.
Well, I yourself.
no.
I was going to say, yeah. I'm going to hold in a fart all day today. And then tonight at Mandy's, when they're doing the speeches,
Does
they're going
anyone object?
To be fair, it's never happened being close though. No,
Never left a little silence.
to be fair, I was more thinking from like a groom's point of view while he stood there, mic'd up, feeling nervous, and just let out
Little pip.
a squeaky.
Oh,
Just get me.
Just a little tramp. Just a little prick.
very mature.
It's a flu shot.
Is it recording, by the way? Oh, we got a good start.
Outtakes there.
Good start, that. About farts. I don't think.
I'm
I
going to
think,
do a little bit of a mini intro.
Are you going to do a mini intro?
Not an intro, just like, welcome to
Go on.
episode number 2.
You go for it. Floor's yours.
I'll just let Matty know when he's ready.
He's recording.
recording.
so-
Is he recording? Oh.
He does that that second time.
No, but I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what
I
he's
don't know what he's
touching.
doing back there.
What is he doing? Can you see me in a thing?
Seriously.
Welcome back. Welcome back to episode number 2, the Isle Chat. Obviously, loads to talk about today, as per usual. Last week we had a great feedback from everybody, so thanks very much. But we'll just get straight on in to saying hello to my compadres, Josh, Beth. Hello.
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 Welcome
all right?
back. Yeah.
Yeah, so welcome to my show.
Ryan's World.
Ryan's Will.
Oh, I got it in before you.
I can't have that one. You've got Ryan's toy review, haven't you?
True. True. Obviously, as we always do, this is our second episode. We're still trying to find our feet, trying to find out what to talk about and stuff like that. So the best way to start, in my opinion, is obviously.
You just done the intro,
No, I'm just saying about what have you been up to this week?
secondary intro.
Second, yeah.
Josh's World.
Josh's World, sorry. Yeah.
Well, believe it or not, I photographed a wedding at the weekend. You wouldn't know, would you?
No, I didn't know that one, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was down on our, talking about deja vu, I was down on our favourite, or one of the favourites, sorry, other venues do apply. West Tower.
Whey!
West Tower, which obviously is only a stone's throw from me, which is great. From a lazy, selfish point of view, you can kind of rock up a little bit.
I think when you do shoot at West Tower, it does feel like home from home, and that's not just saying it because we love working there. That's genuinely the case. All the staff there we know pretty well now, and when you do turn up, you do feel like you've got a team behind you. You're not on your own, sort of fighting off other venues. It's
Well,
just
as soon as I walked in the door, literally, I mean, same as you, really. Obviously, the weather weren't the best for anyone. I'm saying that the Sunday was boss, wasn't it? But Friday,
always the way.
Friday was mine, and it rained the entire day, which obviously you'd always feel bad on the couple. Not to go into too much detail, but in terms of weather, we don't always want bright sunshine either. But just a little note for you there, weddings coming up. But yeah, walked in. Who's there greeting me?
I'm guessing
Kim.
Kim, yeah.
Kim, because our Josie's not there no more. I feel like I can refer to them as our whoever, because like you say, it is like a bit of a family thing, innit?
Yeah.
But yeah, Kim greeted me with open arms, said hello, talked about the day, talked about the couple,
Yeah.
talked about us and our potential connection to
Right.
West Tower.
Right, don't give too much away.
Yeah, what in
Keep it
the
exciting.
works there. No, obviously we love working with West Tower all the time, and took me down to the bride and groom. Well, bride only at this point. Alex and Claire,
Alex and
great,
Claire. Yeah.
great. They're like one of the most, I would say, if not the most relaxed bridal preparations I've ever walked into my life.
Yeah.
Like, the music wasn't on. This morning was on. There was tea getting made in
Sorry,
the corner.
who presents this morning now? I know this is a bit of a gossip conversation.
Hey, not a good time.
Who's presenting
The
this? though?
seat's still warm. I don't know. I think Alison and Dermot.
Oh yeah, they're like the OG Big Brother presenters, aren't they?
You can tell we have time through the week, can't you?
Yeah. No.
Alison and Dermot, they done little cameos, didn't they? But they're full time, I think now.
So they were sat in West Tower's bridal party.
They were sat in, yeah. They were just witnessing what was going on. But yeah, tea was getting made in the corner. Everyone, there was a kid making loom bands, which I waded straight in, and obviously got a 7-year-old girl myself. I was just like, oh yeah, my little girl makes them. Before I knew it, she had me 3 maids, and I had to wear them all day because obviously you don't like to let kids down, do you? So. And then obviously I had to go home and explain that to Thea why I had three loom bands
Why
on.
haven't you worn them today?
It's like walking home with Lippy on your shirt. Like, what's that? Hey, all judgy straight away. But no, I haven't worn them today because I had to take them straight off due to Thea's rules. But yeah, we had the boss day. Nice in a nice way. They weren't overly like concerned about getting the group shots and stuff because obviously West Tower and group photos usually mix best if you can use the stairs on the outside or the front door, the other side, like main entrance. Neither of those were an option.
Of course.
So we opted for some shots with their main ceremony room as a bit of a backdrop, but it was boss. It was actually really, really good because I think people understood as soon as they came in, anyone that came in and stood there, immediately I was like, right, I don't know if you know, but it's raining outside. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And straight away, they were just like right on my wavelength. And they were like, so obviously we're going to stage some stuff up, not too formal, nice and relaxed, stand where you want to stand.
Ryan loves doing group shots, by the way.
Next to the people you would associate yourself with. And yeah, we went on like that. And it was really good. And then as the day unfolded, it became less like the chilled morning. So as the day went on, the bride and groom came out of their shelves in a beautiful fashion. And by the end of the night, I left him. I think she was on someone's shoulders and he was like just pulling out dance moves like I've never seen in my life.
It's funny that you say that because this actually got brought up to me when we were about to record the first episode. And I asked like for obviously people to send in their stories. And what just made me laugh is you've obviously mentioned West Tower. You've obviously mentioned the bride being on someone's shoulders. But funny enough, Faye, her name is, by the way. Faye, one of our brides, who was a competition winner.
Last year's competition winner, Faye.
Yes, so she...
Big shout out, Faye.
So, funny enough, she obviously done a first dance. You know, we stayed for a few songs afterwards, as we always do, and then we have obviously got off. She fell off someone's shoulders, I believe, and broke her wrist. So, coming up to Halloween, that's a bit of a horror story. So, just be careful when you are thinking getting on someone's shoulders. And
I didn't get on no one's shoulders.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I have been.
Yeah,
It has been known.
Did she know? Obviously, she knew she'd damaged it, but did she carry on with the party?
So this is the thing I asked actually afterwards because I was thinking, surely if you've broken your wrist, the party stops there. But Fabian, obviously an absolute streeper, has got on the dance floor and carried on. And she said, though, she didn't realise. So sometimes drinking on your wedding day helps because you don't feel it until...
So if you want to break all of your limbs on your wedding day, go right ahead, is what you're saying.
And here's another little tip for you is when you do go into an A&E and you go, I think I've broke my wrist, just say the day before was your wedding because you'll get seen to straight away.
Is that what happens,
She
yeah?
just turned up in a wedding dress.
Well, she said she turned up and was like, you know, I think it was a few days later as well. So she must have been partying hard for a few days if she didn't feel
It's
a
right,
broken wrist.
Hope Tom's all right.
I think Tom was getting it in the ear like about it. But yeah, Faye, I did say I was going to mention it, and obviously, what? Oh, you just Faye, I did say I was going to mention it, and there you go. There's your mention for getting your wrist broken. I'm not sure that's a positive story to speak about, but yeah. Friday's wedding, we were at Coleshaw. Same again, it's a bit of deja vu. We were at Coleshaw last week, and obviously the couple this week was Alicia and Ben. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were boss. We had a boss day. Obviously the weather, unfortunately, weren't on our side, but it was great.
It literally rained all day, but it was just one of the best days ever.
Yeah.
They proper embraced it, didn't
Yeah,
they?
and I keep saying the funny thing, I always say that, and it's not funny at all, but the interesting part about that wedding was when we turned up, we'd never worked with the photographer before, and sometimes that can be a little bit like, oh, you know,
dicey.
It can be if you've never worked with them before, but for this photographer in particular, Stacey, she was great. But the interesting part about her, which was she was an OK Magazine photographer. So I only found that out a little bit down the line after, you know, follow us on our socials as you do, you know, networking and stuff, and find out that she actually photographed Billy Fair's wedding in the Maldives. So that's like a big, massive
yeah.
gig. And obviously Beth wasn't in the room at the time when she obviously said this. So Beth's head fell off completely.
I was fangirling all
Yeah.
day.
To be fair, like not that I'm like the biggest fangirl over the Fairs or whoever they are, but I was the
Shepherds.
Shepherds. Yeah.
Beth
Sorry,
knows the stuff.
sorry, that marriage was a waste of time for you, weren't it? What's his name?
Greg.
Greg. I like Greg as well.
Oh, Billy and Greg.
Of all of the people out of that show, I think Greg is my favourite. Shout out to Greg there. I'll tag you in.
Yeah, getting little name
But no,
drops.
even if that was me, my head would have fell off.
Yeah.
Truthful.
She'd done loads. She'd done like Molly Mae campaigns and
Oh,
all
so she
kinds.
was
And she
known.
was
She was in the biz.
yeah,
She was.
And she was dead down to earth.
Good job,
wasn't
I
she?
went there.
She was lovely.
To be honest with you, it's one of those things where when you hear someone saying, "Oh, I'm an OK magazine photographer," you automatically go to that like, "Oh, they're gonna be this certain way." You know, like that makes sense. Like
Standoffish.
yeah, like a little bit egotistic and not really want to like engage. But she was so down to earth and she was a fantastic photographer. But we worked with so many other suppliers that day who, when we turned up, was absolutely praising us.
They were
on the
fangirling
podcast.
us.
Yeah, they were fangirling us. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had I Do events.
Well,
We love them.
favourite of ours, yeah.
We love them. And then we obviously had Beth in the makeup room, obviously does hair.
Yes.
So she was obviously made up and said she loved the episode. And
So when are they
Which was
coming on?
nice.
Jason, the Toastmaster as well from Coleshore, he was raving on
So
about
when
it.
he was coming on?
When are you coming on? That's
They
it.
actually were up for it, especially Beth. Beth was well up for coming
Yeah.
on. So
And I'm sure Beth's got loads of stories.
Yeah.
But we've got a little story with Beth. When I say little, it's a big story. But I don't know whether it's PG for the podcast. Is that going too much?
Everything's PG for the podcast.
Yeah.
it's just very dramatic.
Yeah, it's too dramatic for a podcast. I think it's second episode in and we're already touching that
I know,
like
yeah.
borderline.
The
of,
barrier.
let's not go into too much.
But anyway, back to Alicia and Ben's wedding day. What I actually loved about this day, which you never ever see, is instead of having a cake, brownie, cookie, cupcake, grazing table, and the whole entire table was covered in like little treats and that, but it looked amazing, didn't it?
Yeah, it was brilliant. And
God.
I just thought it's such a good idea rather than a cake, because cutting the cake and obviously getting it sliced up and that.
But how did they do the cut the cake then?
So
Or
they
did
didn't.
they not do a
They
cut
just
the cake?
didn't do any cut the cake. They just had like a grazing board of like treats and stuff. And obviously we may have had permission to take a few. home.
as you know, Beth's favourite
That's
thing.
not like you, Beth.
Beth's favourite things to do at a wedding is when the cake's being cut and they've put it
Well-
all out on a spread. Beth's like eyeing it up as she's saying bye. She's like,
Well,
"Oh, it's been a lovely day. Really, really enjoyed capturing your
she
day."
says that she's like sneaking cakes out the side. Well, you just asked me up about the nan thing.
Yeah.
I always beeline for the nan, so I'm guessing Beth
Beth,
up about the
yeah.
cake stealing.
I love
Cake
the
pill for
cake.
it. I love the cake. Yeah, so if you go to your cake when you're about to cut the cake and there's a big finger swipe right through it, there's a large chance that it's going to be out
Point the
Beth.
finger at Beth, yeah. You can't deny it. I think everyone loves cake, but I think on the way out, Beth's always got like crazy
That's good
eyes.
though, to be fair, because I'm always thinking about
I
it.
mean,
but
you
Beth
don't
goes
turn
and does
it down. I mean, if I get in one slice, I'm getting 3 slices. So
Always
be
with
grateful.
permission, by the way. Always with
Maybe
permission.
a few extras for the kids.
Yeah. And then obviously we, this week's been absolutely manic in terms of how many weddings. We don't normally do this many weddings in a week, but we also had a wedding on Tuesday. So obviously today is Thursday, but we had a wedding on Tuesday and we had the pleasure, again, of working with some amazing suppliers, one being Jess Lang, who
The
you
famous-
mentioned on the first podcast and you absolutely love her. Matty loves it as well. He's had the pleasure of working alongside Jess. She's
Jess Lang.
great. And also, this was an absolutely full circle for us, and it always is when we meet this supplier, and it's Chelsea. She's a makeup artist, and we had the pleasure of capturing her day at Coleshore back in 2021. So every time when we turn up first thing in the morning, obviously seeing the bride in the chair getting her hair or makeup done, and Chelsea's there, and she's like, "Oh my God, these are my videographers." For us, what's it like? It's just
That's a
just
boss
lovely,
intro to the
yeah.
room, that as
Yes.
well. Because obviously that bride must just be sitting there like, oh my God, yeah, I've definitely done the right thing. Not that people
Oh,
would
no,
ever
yeah,
second
yeah.
guess us up to that point.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, it must be like totally like, well, like we said about last week, the way sometimes you can get a bit like amped about, is the day going to go right? And there's all of those nerves that will quash those nerves.
especially for the bride who sat there, and obviously she, you've had a brief meeting with them in a different type of setting, and this day is the biggest day of their lives. We're walking in, who basically they've only got like an acquaintance relationship with you. To hear that from someone else in the room who they've been spending all morning with, is, as you say, just that like, and Chelsea's absolutely lovely. She's got a little girl now as well with Jake, and it's nice to see like the after story as well when you meet up with like your brides and stuff. We don't have the pleasure of all the time of bumping into brides and grooms. But when you do, you get to know that a little bit more, don't you know?
Yeah, well, sometimes you like obviously you keep an eye on them on social media, or like you might see them at another wedding as guests and stuff, isn't it? So it is nice to catch up.
Tomorrow's is someone's birthday, and his name is Producer Matty.
Hey, Matthew.
We want to say happy birthday?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear
Like Marilyn
Matthew.
Monroe.
So, Matty, I know you haven't got a mic this week, but how old are you? 26.
26 years young. Remember, I was 26.
I absolutely love Matty's response. He's like, 26.
No, I was at a wedding party, funny enough. It was 5 years ago today. And it was Lucy's brother. They got married in New York, they eloped, and they come back.
Oh.
And then he said, oh, it's Matty's birthday tomorrow. They got everyone in the room sing happy birthday to me at the wedding party.
Boss that. That's boss. That's what you want, don't you?
Yeah.
We see it all the time at weddings where it is someone's birthday, and I think it's something that, even though it's someone's big day and you know, people can get carried away with it, you should always mention someone's birthday.
There's always an extra celebration, isn't he? Like, of some variant, or someone's just recently, like, you know, anniversary or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's always
It's
nice to mention.
always
Because
nice.
you've got all of those people in the room. They're only the same people that you probably see, or that person will see in a couple of days anyway. So,
Yeah. So with it being Matty's birthday,
Mhm.
and we have a little gift for Matty. Where is it, guys?
Drum roll.
Drum roll.
Drum roll.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Do you want me to open it for you? No.
No, just give it to Matty.
I obviously will. I'm going to open it for you.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you come.
I'm not getting on the camera.
Why?
Take your
No.
seat.
I'm
What?
not getting on the seat.
Come on, you cowboy.
No, I got no.
you big spoiled sport.
Thank you. Thank you.
Matty's hand, by the way.
Probably out of focus and everything, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we love it.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I should actually. This is just for behind the scenes, Matty. Matty, come on, open it. What's on it? Oh, do you know what? Don't open
You
it.
can open it later.
Open it after. You've got a podcast to record.
It's true.
That's very true. When you
He's
got
got
an hour, come on.
birthday celebrations to get to. So,
Exactly.
but
So
yeah,
we
happy
want-
birthday, Matty.
Happy birthday, Matty.
Birthday, Matthew.
And obviously back to the Halloween theme. I know we had to get a little mention out there for Matty's birthday, but with Halloween,
Before we went too in depth and went talking about something that wasn't.
with it being Halloween coming up, I always think it's a funny thing, like a humorous thing to talk about, like horror stories and creepy stories surrounding weddings. So that can even be themes, like a theme wedding, which obviously we seen Stefan, the Toastmaster, put on his socials recently about he went to a Peckforton themed wedding that looked really spooky, had all the pumpkins and stuff like that. It looked great. But I have a funny story.
Wait there, little shout out to Stefan there. You'll get a mention, mate.
Ryan's on a mission here to tag every single
Of course,
person that
of
is
course.
mentioned.
Well, let me just, before we go into that, why you're like making it look like it's a negative thing, which it isn't.
No, it's
By
never
the way,
negative.
I think we love. I've just noticed your Stranger Things socks
I
there.
know.
By the way.
Oh,
Have you done
I've
that
seen
on
them
purpose?
before.
Have you done that on purpose?
well, it's a horror episode, isn't it? So I've got to put my Stranger Things.
Josh has got Stranger Things socks on.
Such
for
a
those who
wolf.
are not
Meh,
can't
you.
see.
That's how cool I am.
Me anyway.
Um,
But anyway, yeah, what I was going to say is we love our network. Like,
Yeah.
I always think, talking about networks, and this was something I was going to bring up, and we will come back to the horror story thing straight away because I don't want to go too far. But we love a network, and anyone who is within, or what we feel is within our network, we will always mention them at every opportunity. And obviously, this was another thing which was kind of why we started the podcast, wasn't it? To not only get ourselves out there, how we are and who we are, but also speak about other people within our little wedding world, so they can get little insights into other people's lives, and then they can come on as guests and so on and so on. So you're getting tagged. Unlucky. Go on.
I think that's a good point. I'm just going to mention it as well because we do want to get those people on. So everyone we are mentioning, at some point down the line, you will probably see the face and get to know them a little bit more
Hopefully.
and what they do on a wedding. Like, hopefully, if they want to come on.
Yeah.
It's not always guaranteed that they do want to come on, but yeah.
Do you think maybe next episode we should try and get someone on? Like episode 3 be
Well,
the next one?
maybe we should put it in a poll, and if you think that the next episode should have somebody on as a guest, say who you think, and we'll reach out to them.
Exactly. Should we a bit of
That's
poll?
what I was thinking. We could
Yeah.
like put who would people want, like
Or get
categories.
get a few people who we think they would ask them.
Yeah.
Say, would you want to come on the next one? And then put them and say,
Little
who do you
vote.
like? Little
Yeah.
vote.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
We've
And
got
then
to
we'll-
leave
get
it
them
open
all
to.
on.
We're
We'll
going to
get
leave
them
it
all on, yeah,
open
yeah.
to the public, haven't you? It's opinionated, free flowing, not our choice.
With it being Halloween week, we obviously want to mention a little debate about maybe horror stories for brides or grooms that might happen on a wedding day. Now, we're not going to go too serious with it because, you know, it is a light-hearted podcast. We want to talk about fun things, but with this episode being a Halloween theme, let's say, there's a bait that I
Should've
actually
dressed up.
I was just literally going to say, should have dressed up, missed out there.
missed
I
out on
know.
not dressing up. But with it being a Halloween week, I had this question with this photographer about how would you feel if you were the reason for the bride or groom bumping into the other one in the morning? How would you feel?
So the bride and groom see each other.
So if it's a groom or groom wedding or a bride wedding or a bride and groom wedding, whatever it is, when you're with the bride or when you're with the groom, if you're taking them to a location in the morning, whether you want to get like robe shots or anything like that,
Oh, yeah.
and as you do it, you bump into one
There they
another.
And that would be a horrible situation to be in.
Luckily, we've never been in that
It
situation.
would be if that's the way that they were thinking about it, which typically most people do, don't they? They do think about it like, not allowed to see them the day before.
Yeah.
We've had it before, though, where we've got like people getting ready in the same room and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have
Yeah,
actually
we
a
have.
bride
Jess
and
and
groom getting
Ryan
ready
got
together
ready in the exact same
morning, which
place.
I love,
you know,
to
it
be
happens
fair.
a few times.
It's people have that idea that they cannot see each other in the morning. And I'm thinking about your wedding. You definitely,
I didn't see it.
no,
No.
but you were very in close.
Oh, yeah, well, I was literally
Yeah.
at the other end of the
You were literally,
building. You
know,
can say building.
They
Yeah.
always are. They like the bride and groom. Like, they're always so close
yeah,
that like
yeah, you are actually right.
like they can be like
Next door.
next door. Yeah.
yeah.
Some
And-
hotels I've
risky.
been in, they literally put them because obviously certain suites are better than others. They'll put them in the two like better suites, shall we say? And those two suites will be like there and there.
And it is like a military operation trying to like move them from location to location without with them being seen.
I definitely think it depends on the couple.
Yeah,
Like
it's couple
how
preference.
much they're bothered. I think if they're not bothered, I'm not bothered. I think we both, or we all, kind of mirror our couples whenever we get there. We take their vibe straight from our first interaction when they messages from wherever they get us or they see us at a fair or whatever it might be. We take their like lead almost, don't we, in terms of
Yeah.
how their opinions are and what they're like, and we'll just roll with that right the way through till like the end, really.
Yeah.
Making small suggestions along the way, obviously, to make sure that they get the best from us. But if they weren't bothered, I don't think I'd be bothered. But if they were bothered and it was my fault, I'd feel like just getting off there and then.
yeah.
I wouldn't, but like,
Yeah.
But when you come into that story, it's just, do you know what? It just popped into my head then where they're bumping into one another and how that would make them feel. Even when you've got them, like, you know, the morning shots on your camera body and they might go, oh, let me have a look at that on your camera. And you'd think to yourself, oh my God, like, which way do I swipe? That sort of feeling.
I think that sometimes when I'm looking at things, and people don't tend to, especially the lads, don't tend to look back and say, what do I look like in that? But
Yeah.
that can happen,
course
can't
it
it?
can,
Like,
yeah,
'cause,
yeah.
you know, they're all just like a phone. They're all just a scroll away from the next photo. There has been times where I think...
Quick, go back. That's
Yeah,
pretty bad.
there has been times where I think I've took certain pictures of certain moments and I've got back to like either the bride or the groom or whatever, and they've went, oh, how's such and such a person, or how's my little lad, is he dressed and that? And I think, oh yeah, do you want to see him? And then I remember and think to myself, I'm probably putting myself in
Yeah.
a place I don't need to be there.
Yeah.
Just take it back a little bit, and yeah.
Yeah. Another point as well, just about bumping into people. We had the pleasure of bumping into the Liverpool squad on a wedding day morning.
Just around there. We
Yeah.
filmed quite close to there as well, by the way, didn't we? Titanic.
But that's another thing, another like observation of in the morning you will bump into people, but just make sure you don't bump into the other half.
Have you had any? I've not got any Halloween themes or horror stories, but have you had any theme weddings?
The one that springs to mind straight away, and talking about themes, not dark, quite the opposite actually, which will probably
Don't
bring
say
us-
Disney.
No, well, there was one with Disney, but not that one. And I suppose this is loosely tied to Disney. But anyway, this will bring us out of those dark...
I'm joking.
No, you don't.
I'm joking.
Charlotte?
Yeah,
and
Charlotte,
David?
ups, up.
Up.
Oh,
So that was like
yeah.
a Pixar theme, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you probably would have seen on our both of... Did you put...
We
you
did
obviously
definitely.
put the video
we
up, didn't
definitely
you?
put it up. It was,
Obviously, we put these videos out about our couples almost every single time because obviously... Well, not obviously, because some people don't do this, but we will always try and do next day teasers for everyone that we've ever worked with, for a simple fact that it's lovely to have something in your hands the very next day, not waiting months on end, which I know sometimes it can be the case. It's just a good way to update your socials, send it to people who couldn't be there, so on. But anyway, if you want to look, Charlotte and David, Pixar theme wedding. They had the little grape soda badge, they had the book, they had the lot, didn't they? The
letterbox.
colours.
Kids walk down the aisles with balloons. No, I was just going to say that a theme wedding that we had, which was quite a few years ago now, was Doctor Who theme. and I mean, I have no idea about Doctor Who, not a fan at all. But they had a life-size, what was it called?
TARDIS,
They had a TARDIS, and they had a
a Dalek.
Dalek.
I always
I was
go-
like,
Yeah.
Dalek.
By the way,
Dalek?
I can't believe I knew both of those answers. You know what I mean? If someone was throwing out a quiz and he went, "What's the thing that he travels through in time?" I'd be like, "TARDIS."
I think all day I was calling it a garlic, and then it's like the end-
garlic?
yeah, a garlic.
Everyone's probably looking at you like that little ming over there doesn't even know what a TARDIS is.
But to be fair, it was a great day, wasn't it?
It was, I love that though, because obviously that was their interest, and like they just adapted it and brought it to their wedding day. And I think that's what makes it so special when people have something that they love and incorporate it into their wedding day. Like, I mean, I'm sure if Josh ever got married, he'd have Harry Potter,
Got married.
because I certainly wouldn't.
Hey.
To be fair, I've seen a lot of Harry Potter themed weddings on like Pinterest and Instagram and whatever, and they look unbelievable. So if anyone's getting married and they're having a little Harry Potter themed wedding,
Discount.
I want to be a guest. I don't want to
Oh,
film
right.
it. I want to be a guest. I want to enjoy myself. No, yeah. And then obviously we had a wedding last year. It was you're probably best explaining this than me because you know.
Which wedding were we
Gotham.
about? Oh yeah, so we had a themed wedding where the bride wore a black wedding dress, and in the invite, all the other guests were advised to wear like whites, and it was in the Gotham Hotel in Manchester.
Yeah.
She got married. The ceremony was in an art gallery, and then the after do was in Gotham Hotel. But that was like proper like punk, romantic. I don't even know what the words for was it.
The most impressive part for me was they had a free bar all day. I'm not an alcoholic, by the way.
The rest of it I like the most is that there was a free bar.
But when you normally see a free bar, it's obviously you go to the bar, you get served and stuff like that. But this couple in particular said, these are our 3 favourite cocktails. And instead of people coming to the bar and asking for the cocktail, you just keep making them. That's it. You don't stop making them. And in that Gotham hotel, they had like cage shelves, and behind the cage shelves are all the cocktails lined up, getting made and restocked constantly with dry ice. So coming out the shelves is smoke. and
Sounds dead
cocktails.
impressive.
It was nice because it was different, and obviously a black wedding dress is a huge statement. Like
think so.
only so many people could probably pull that off, and she did pull it off, to be fair.
Yeah, she did.
And then obviously her husband now didn't know that she was going to wear a black wedding dress. So I was thinking,
Oh, even better.
I wonder how he's going to react. And then when he's seen it, his response was, I wouldn't have expected anything else. Like I would
Isn't
have
that
been
what?
shocked if she wore a white wedding dress, because that's not her.
To be fair, to this day, she's the only person I've ever seen wear a black wedding dress, and I think we're all under that assumption that you should always wear a white dress.
Yeah.
So for her to do that, and that's obviously showing her personality off massively, because she hasn't fell under that bracket of feeling like you've got to do what everyone else does. I'm not saying that you should go out and buy a black wedding dress, by the way, but what I'm trying to say is like, don't always feel like you've got to do what the other person does when you're planning your wedding and you see things that other people do. You make your wedding like what you want it to be.
Yeah,
And-
it's not.
We always say that, don't we? About
Yeah.
trying to make it as much about you as possible.
It's your
Be
big-
yourselves as much as possible, because you will enjoy it the most if the day is centered around your likes.
Yeah, definitely. And with weddings, you're going to remember it forever, and you don't want to think you've done something to suit somebody else, or you've done it just to fit in or whatever. You want to look back and say, our wedding was like this and it was dead authentic, like Sarah's from Coleshaw.
yeah.
We didn't capture this day, by the way, but she told us about her wedding, and it was just so personal to her. And obviously, I don't think we should go in to tell the story. She might tell it one day when she comes on as the podcast, hopefully. But yeah, it was just dead personal to her. Similar to yourself, where you went off and just did your own thing on your wedding. It was very personal to you. But going back to dress codes and black wedding dresses and stuff, we have had another mention, someone asking about dress codes at a wedding.
Well, I think we should do like a segment on questions. So obviously we're hoping that each week more people will write in questions or write in things that they want us to talk about, and then we'll do a segment. Like we'll come up with a good name for it, but we'll just call it like,
Question time.
Call it question time, like everybody else.
That's not being done
Hasn't
before.
been used since 1938 all week, so yeah.
But yeah, question time is obviously, as Beth just mentioned, people send questions in, and one of the questions were dress codes for wedding. What do you think, right, is acceptable?
well, wait
and-
there. I think there's a lot of, before you just interrupted me, I was like on a roll there. I think there's a lot of like segments to dress codes. So obviously the person wants us to talk about dress codes for weddings, but I think there's like many avenues to go down. So people obviously telling you to wear something, and then like what's respectful and like no not to wear. So first thing I think we should say is, what are your views on a guest wearing white to a wedding?
Firstly, what just comes to my mind, sorry, it's just even on topic. If Matty had his way, he'd be wearing shorts.
Matty is wearing shorts at the moment as well. Observational.
Yeah. But yeah, white, what do you think, wearing white at a wedding?
Guess wearing white.
Yeah.
Yeah, loosely. I mean, I think lads typically don't wear white that much, do they? They might have a white shirt, but that doesn't feel like. I think it's more like the
Well,
brides and the girls, isn't it?
Ultimately, the issue is a girl,
Wearing white.
a woman wearing white.
I think
to a
that's one of them
wedding.
things that have come from like day dot of weddings, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like only the bride should wear white type of thing.
Yeah.
And everybody else should just wear like a colour or whatever you want.
I think there's a lot of them things with weddings as well where them things have just been carried on for years and
Yeah.
will they ever phase
Traditions.
out? Yeah,
But
traditions.
what is your opinion on it?
My opinion. I don't know. I'm, to coin a phrase that someone who's booked me in the last couple of days have used, I'm very low maintenance around expectations and like what people should and shouldn't do. Obviously, like you said before, I didn't do the standard what people do for weddings. Not that there is a standard, but like there's a general outline of what a wedding day looks like, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit like aloof when it comes to that type of stuff. I wouldn't be overly concerned if everyone turned up in white, but I know that
Becky, on the other hand,
But I
is not going to
know-
be very happy.
that for the bride and their mindset, they wouldn't expect anyone to turn up, and it might sink into them and just think, should they have done that? It's just an extra thing to think about that they shouldn't need to think about. I wouldn't have a problem with it myself, but
Yeah.
I just think it's a rule, really. Isn't
It is a
It's
bit of an
like
unwritten.
courtesy
yeah,
to
it is
just
an unwritten.
don't turn up in white. But then how far do you take it? Obviously, you're a boy, so you don't really maybe not get this. But it's like, can you wear a white dress with patterns on? I think if it was me, I'd just scrap the whole white, just go for something
Yeah.
different. But then you have obviously still back to the question about like what you should wear to a wedding. It's then, well, what colour are the bridesmaids wearing? Can I get the same colour dress as them? So it's like some people ask to the bridesmaids.
Me and Ryan are just, we haven't got much to say about this because I think from
No,
a girl,
I think I can wade in here,
you
but I'm
reckon?
letting out a little bit.
I know, but I'm thinking from a lad's point of view.
Well, I was going to say, obviously, to get you involved, is how would you feel if you were a guest at a wedding and you rocked up in the same suit that the groom and the groomsman were wearing?
I think that is a bit of a debate, really.
Do
in
you know what?
terms of-
Sometimes I go to weddings and that kind of happens, and the only real difference, only for the simple fact that a lot of grooms will go for a certain colour scheme, won't they? It's either black or navy blue, or every now and again you get like a bit of an adventurous one who will turn up in like a white or a grey or something like that. But like
adventurous.
navy suits, especially certain types of suits, especially wedding cut suits, will look very similar, and the only difference being is that they might have a waistcoat on as well and a different coloured tie. So there have been times where I've like, when it comes to the group shots, for example, you're setting all the groomsmen up on one side, bridesmaids on the other, that type of stuff, and you're looking in the crowd and you spot someone who might or could possibly be in that groomsman brigade, if you want to put it that way, because they've got
Yeah.
a very similar thing. So I think I can see it from your point of view. It does cause that kind of like questions, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Of,
but that pulls back to guest wearing white. It's like, imagine like people at the venue mistaking the guest wearing white for the bride.
bride,
If it
yeah.
was really like
Has
a
any of
bride
you done
dress.
that in the morning when you've walked in and they've all had white bridesmaids, like jammies
Yeah,
or
you're
whatever,
trying to
and you're
look for
like,
the brides.
and then the bridesmaid comes over first, like, oh my god, and you're like, oh,
you big day,
yeah,
Jenny.
yeah. and she doesn't look like, if say her name's Jenny, she doesn't look like a Jenny, and you're like, Jenny, is that you? You don't look the same anymore. No, I don't think it has happened to us.
I know, I don't think,
I think
so.
the hard part for us sometimes is, like you've already touched on a little bit earlier, our connections to some of the couples sometimes is brief,
Yeah.
at best. And it's the way that we're connecting with them as well. A lot of them don't meet us in person until that very first Wednesday, because obviously we'll always try and make sure that there's a video call, video specifically, so there is a face to a name. But that like half an hour, 40 minutes that we get with them across a video call, sometimes through dodgy connections or whatever, doesn't exactly like leave their face in your mind unless you've been full on social stalking them leading up to the day, which sometimes I do, to be fair,
You've got it,
to,
haven't you?
to get them in my mind. Because you do walk in, and if everyone's got like pajamas on or whatever, typically the way you spot them out is the bride's got like a white robe on and everybody
Yeah.
else got greens or pastel coloured ones or whatever.
Yeah.
Plus it's a crowded room and there's loads of people.
Yeah.
And how do you keep on saying this without saying, sometimes you walk in and you go, oh my God, which one's the bride. Do you know what I mean? Without you making yourself look like you don't know who it is.
Yeah. Or yeah. That's a fair point.
We've actually had a bride before. I'm like really getting into this like colour thing. Who the groom's mum wanted to wear ivory, and obviously the bride's dress was ivory, and the bride said to her, "No, like you're not wearing that colour. Like go and find a different colour dress."
I think it is a very much female debate, if I'm honest with you. I think it's a good point that you've made.
Just
and
having
I've-
a debate with myself.
No, but I
You're not
think,
Beth, you're having a debate with the multiple listeners who are listening right now.
I think from my perspective as a lad, I think it would not bother me. And I think if we ever got married and we were planning a wedding, I think you just put the feel out straight away, just being like, just a
Can I
reminder.
just say, don't say if we ever, just say when we do.
Okay,
Just, you might make it home.
yeah, I'm allowed back in the house.
He's in the big bed.
But I think you put the feel out, don't you, and say, you know, it's a tux, all the lads wearing tuxes. I don't think is it a surprise when it comes to grooms what they wear? Because I've never really asked the question. Do you think it is?
When you say surprise, what they wear, what do you mean?
So like, no one knows the
Do you mean colours? Do you mean
Well,
what they've actually got on?
colours or the style of suit, because a lot of pretty much majority of the time, the bride's dress is always going to be a surprise for everyone
Yeah.
on the day. But
Well,
with
like
the
the suit
groom side of
types,
things,
Yeah.
is it a surprise?
Yeah and no. I think unless you're like proper extravagant, that's what I was saying before. Most suits don't overly differ, do they? In terms of colour and whatever like that. Sometimes they do. But what was funny there was talking about suits. Luke and Olivia very
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
They had like a green checkered style suit on, if I
Yeah.
remember right.
Yeah.
But what kind of separated them, which we both witnessed to, which one day we might send a little picture out on our little socials about it. They all wore them undies, didn't they? Them like
Lads, yeah.
Oh,
all the
yeah.
lads wore, and I guess that's like a bit of a shock and awe, like when, especially when we done the group photos and they all dropped the kecks and showing the undies that they had on at the time.
That was a
little bit
nice
taken back by
surprise.
that. But they were all, it was like a brand, isn't it?
Yeah, it must have been
I
because
can't even shout out that brand like I normally do because I don't know what the brand is.
yeah. The next question that got sent in, which is an interesting one and can be a bit of a touchy subject, and it is about kids at weddings. Now, not everyone invites kids to weddings for obvious reasons, but also I think kids at weddings can make it and make it really memorable for so many different reasons. But the question that got sent in, which was, tell us funny things that kids have done at weddings. And there's the pause. That means not many funny things have happened with kids.
You know what? There's probably a lot of things that have happened, but something that will spring to mind.
I've got a funny one.
I was gonna say, I don't know. I mean, I found it funny, but it was a bit like, ooh. I was at a wedding once, and Matty was actually second shooting with me on this one, and one of the little flower girls was desperate to get her dress on, and she was all excited, like propagating herself for what, just wanting to touch the dress, wanting to get the dress. And then Nan kept saying to her, "No, just wait a minute, like let me get dressed. I'll sort it in a minute, sort it in a minute." She's obviously so excited, really, really wants to get this dress on. So she ends up getting the dress, the little girl, out and thinks, "I'll just put it on myself," because she was old enough to get herself dressed. And then Nan was like, "I've just told you, put it back now. Don't let me tell you again." And obviously give it a telling off. And the little girl turned around and went, "Nan, your dress is a show and I hate you." And I was like,
Cue the
and
laughter.
then the nan turned around and was like, "What she just said to me?" I was like, "I don't know, but I'm not getting
Didn't hear
involved
that,
in
yeah.
this."
Who?
Stuff like that with the camera.
At a recent wedding,
Yeah.
if you can set the scene,
Yeah.
talking about like I think sometimes you associate kids with being like bringing, not negative, but bringing like harm to your day, or like not behaving, or not going to sleep, or pouring tea on dresses, or whatever it might be.
Or for me yesterday when my little boy was obviously giving me the...
Or
Yeah.
I went for obviously you were in somewhere else, don't know where you were, but
Don't mention it.
yeah,
Leave Jude out of this.
yeah, no, but obviously we went on a little first dad's walk, was that?
Yeah.
Little dad walk.
Yeah,
With
dad
a little
walk
walk,
in the
Greenbank
sun.
Park.
Yeah.
And yet your little boy was not best pleased to be out.
Yeah.
Is
They
the
weren't having a good
sentence I can
time.
use.
Possessed by the devil.
Possessed by Halloween.
Halloween. Yeah.
But yeah, tell us the story.
So the story, I'm going to set the scene as well, talking about how kids can sometimes bring negatives. This kid really brought positives all day for me. I thought she was great. I thought she was like amazing. Just for like her timing and like just the general way that she was and how much she loved everyone like having a laugh and stuff like that was boss to watch. But I'll set the scene. So ceremony's happening. Bride and groom have both walked in. They're both standing at the altar. They're in between certain parts of the vows. There's a pause. There's a stop. Room's quiet. A little bit like this now. Wait there for the SMR. You can hear a pin drop. Yeah. The room's silent. And this little girl, the daughter of the bride and groom, goes, "This wedding's taking ages. You don't even want me here. Hurry up." And I just thought it rose the room to a rapturous laughter like I've never heard in my life. And it was the best, like, ice-breaking, like, cutting that tension with a knife I've probably witnessed.
Yeah.
And definitely in memory can ever testify to being at. I thought it was perfect.
Don't worry, it wasn't at the bit where they say, "Is there any objections?"
Yeah,
and
it
she
was
just
not
come
the
out with that.
objections. It just came out of like nowhere, out of thin air, and it was just
love that.
comedy timing that you just could not put on it.
Yeah,
She was a boss kid.
and the atmosphere after it was just obviously everyone. It just, as you say, it
I think
broke
that
the ice
changed.
massively.
I think that changed the whole tempo of the day.
Because you know what it's like with ceremonies, they can feel a little bit overly formal, and that sometimes for the couple can make them feel a little bit, you know, awkward or feel a bit of tension or whatever. And with her saying that, everyone just went, "Why are we even?" You know, if that sort of thing, like, why are we all sat up straight thinking we've got to be dead serious?
Yeah.
When if she's just come out with that, we can all just sit and laugh and just actually be present, take it in, which has just made me think about with ceremonies in general. The debate about phones being out or if anyone's taking photos, we keep seeing it more and more these days where
Well, everyone's a content creator now, aren't they? Do you know how many weddings have you been to recently? And this isn't a bad thing. It's actually quite a good thing because the people of that wedding love it. But how many people who's like their mate or whoever are walking around and taking all the same shots as you're taking? Say you set something up, they're getting it as well, doing a little 30-second video. And then they go, "Oh, it's because I'm putting it all together into a reel for it because I'm trying to be a bit..." That happens constant now, I think.
Yeah.
And I haven't got a problem with it. I actually quite applaud it. Sometimes, in some ways, it's beneficial because they might be setting stuff up, like, you know, putting all the cards together or putting all the prezzies together because they'll know where it all is. That might have been handed out before we even got there. They've got it all together for us, so I think it's great. But everyone's like that now, aren't they? Everyone wants a piece of the day.
But in the same breath, I was going to say a lot of couples now are asking for unplugged ceremonies, which basically means in a small
Lash your phone.
basically do not have your phone out so you can just sit there and be present. We don't want an iPad in the aisle while I'm walking down, which has made me just thought of a funny
I
story.
know exactly what you're thinking
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm thinking of the same
Tell
one.
us then if you want
And we had this guest one time, and her son was a page boy. And obviously, it's a big moment. You're so proud of your child walking down the aisle. So she really wanted to get a picture of him. So I am not exaggerating. She was on all fours in the middle of the aisle, taking pictures of him. Literally just blocking us, blocking obviously the groom's view.
The groom's looking, thinking, I didn't expect to see this on my wedding
come
day.
on.
Why is our Katie there?
Just thought it's just not necessary.
And where did the iPad come in?
There was no iPad.
I know. Maybe she was.
It was an
thinking-
obstructive view, an
Ah,
iPad.
right. Sorry, I
She
thought you meant like she had a
No,
full
she
on
was
like
just literally on it.
20-inch iPad Pro like that. Look at me, John. Look at me.
Smile. Yeah, and that was something that when it comes to ceremonies, expect the unexpected, a phrase that I mentioned last week. There is people there. If they're not told otherwise, they're like, just sit in your chair.
They will always.
Yeah.
And it sometimes it kind of gets not in our way because we're obviously very good at like trying to see past it and stuff like that. Just probably blame myself. Like
Matthew Sheeman, stop.
even when they say unplug ceremonies, the amount of people who still get their phones out is like
Yeah.
incredible. Once the vows part is done, they probably assume that the wedding is over. You know,
Yeah.
just when they're standing up to walk down. That's probably the bit that is the worst.
Yeah.
When the couple are turned to come out and like see the world for the first time. Lovely moment for us to capture because a lot of the time there's a lot of like flowers in the air from the bride. There might be a little dip and a kiss halfway down the aisle, that type of stuff. And that seems to be the most opportune time for Uncle Francesco, where that name came from, to like get his
He's
phone
met
out,
Uncle Francesco,
to get
whatever his
his
name is.
Nokia 98,010 out, which is massive big brick thing, and put it directly central to our view.
Ryan was born in the 80s, so he knows what them phones used to look like.
Yeah. Still got one weighing me down. I ripped many pockets.
Ryan's looking at me and saying, I can't believe you just said how old I am. Well, I didn't say how old you was,
But I
but
was born in the 80s, so
cool guy.
yeah, well.
Wow. But obviously with ceremonies as well, it can bring, them moments where people's phones do go off. not just from a recording photograph point of view, but more of a the old
Ah,
knocker, yeah.
wait.
Go on.
So you have just reminded me, and I can't even. You just got onto it as well.
Yeah.
So again, little scene setter here. We're in the wedding. The wedding's going off. We've gone through the vows. We're touching it nicely. The room's come to a standstill, silent, and then someone's phone doesn't ring. No text message. The alarm doesn't go off, but you get a Google Maps notification. At the next right, you are at your destination during the ceremony. But it couldn't have happened at a better time.
No, it was
Oh
it
my
was
God.
it was so funny. And yet, do you know what? Good on the couple because they didn't let it. Like some couples can
again.
really get wrapped up in like, this is my big day. Please, everyone switch the phone off.
I think it was because of what it said when it said it, and like the room being silent. I think there wasn't anyone that was wincing at that. Everyone was sounding that hysterical.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Was it his mum?
No,
Or like
it
an
was
auntie? It
mum.
was
I
someone on
think
the
it was-
front row though, wasn't it?
It was someone
One
definitely
of the
on the
key people. Probably why they were allowed to get away with it.
yeah.
No, I love it though when it's like, you know which person's phone's going off and everyone's looking at that person as you say, and they're going, "Not me."
Not me. Don't even have a phone.
The worst one is when it's like someone who's quite elderly who might not have an iPhone and the phone's like one of them flip ones. What like you've got to proper take it out. You can't just knock the silent button. You've got to whip it out and proper like put your glasses on and do all this.
Yes, do this.
Yeah, like, and we've seen it before where the bride's been, you know, one of those brides who's, you know, start that bit again. It's been a bride who's been very particular about there being no phones at all, and please keep them on silent because we don't want any distractions. It's not fair on the couple. It might knock them off, making them feel uncomfortable. And there's being like their nan who's had their phone and it went, I can't even do the ringtone. What's the Nokia ringtone used to go like? And the nan's literally being sat there like that. Carry on, go, keep going.
That's it.
The nan's been doing all this, like, fiddling about. And the people next to you going, Maureen, switch it off. And she's like, I can't, it's like stuck. And then, yeah.
It's not mine.
And for us who are filming the wedding, when it comes to obviously the edit and the ceremony in full, we're obviously at that point where we're like, how do we cut that bit out? Like, and I always think this all the time when it comes to ceremonies. If something like that happens, please just laugh. Because what that does is it creates a memorable moment for you in a positive way. But also, it brings that point when you come to watch your film back, like, it was just a natural thing. It wasn't like you know what I mean? It just...
Yeah, it's not malicious. It's harmless.
And the last thing we want to do, or when you come back to watch your film, is see your own face be like, I can't believe that just happened. And more of a like, ha ha ha. Even if you are human, just laugh. Bringing up, actually speaking, we've actually spoke a lot about ceremonies during this point, but this just made me think of like a bit of advice, tips and tricks, which Ryan loves me saying.
Wait there. Can you see the venom in my face when he says tips and tricks?
But my point is, for bridesmaids, because I see it all the time, and bridesmaids are very conscious of feeling about when they walk down the aisle, they can feel very nervous, can't they?
Yeah.
And they can get in their own head. But my only advice for bridesmaids who are walking down the aisle is, if you walk down the aisle like you're about to greet the groom, or if it's the bride at the top of the aisle, whoever you're going to greet who's getting married first, walk towards them like you're about to, go on a night out with them. Go over and give them a hug, or just give them like an acknowledgement. The last thing you want to do is walk down the aisle and have your head down. So that when... Storming is another one. They fly down.
They fly down the aisle. Probably causing themselves more problems because then they're more likely to trip, or the way the dresses are sometimes get stuck under the feet or whatever.
Even still, when they come back to watch the friend's wedding film and they see themselves, I know for a fact they'll be more gutted that they've had their head down, being like, they're on a
What did he do?
That. You'd rather see yourself smiling, looking dead happy, confident. And obviously, even if you are a shy person, which at times, even us, we're doing this podcast now, this is our second go at it, we're all completely, normal people and completely normal, see what I mean? I'm on the spot trying to think of words to say, and you can feel uncomfortable, when there's a camera pointing at you. So just remind yourself to, when you are walking down the aisle, smile and let on to whoever's there waiting for the bride or the groom. And yeah, I thought that was a nice full circle about ceremonies as well. Just, I don't want to keep talking about ceremonies because we've got loads of times where we're thinking on bringing on a celebrant, because celebrants have got lots of funny stories.
Well, our Liverpool celebrant made a little comment the other day, didn't she?
She did?
Touched on our little joke
She did.
around heighten and the fact that you're heighten and all that.
Wait. Don't think you can just slide your way past this comment. I actually seen his comment back and he tried to make out like he lives on the border
Do you
of
live on the border?
Bootle. Lad, I don't care what you say. You live in Bootle. The amount of times I'm in the morning prep with Rai and or for the groom prep and there's all
Spike
lads.
Crosby there, yeah.
And he does that. They go to him. So whereabouts in Liverpool are you from? And he go, oh no, Crosby Beach, just right by there.
Especially the further out of Liverpool you go, the more inclined you are
Yeah.
to say somewhere dead like
Posh.
posher. Not
Posher.
that Crosby is even that much better, to be fair. But like, it's
How
not
many,
though, is
how
it?
many places do you want to
I
go
know, I won't
for?
be allowed in any-
Bootle, Highton,
I won't
Crosby.
be allowed anywhere in Liverpool anymore, slating them all. But no,
Yeah.
posh is nicer. I brought a prop.
So, prop, eh? Let's continue. Oh, Ryan's got a prop.
Yeah, so not a prop essentially, but you know the way we mentioned before about our networks and these people who we meet, other suppliers at weddings and stuff like that, which is always great. Well, something came in the mail this week,
Okay.
which you may loosely forget about, but I recalled it, and to be honest with you, I was waiting for it. Nice one, Adam, for sending it. We've had some fan mail, I suppose you could say. So,
Only done the podcast for a week and it's already went to his head. Fan mails
yes,
come in.
I gotta not to blare out the address there, so you know where I live in Crosby, do I?
Lies.
At obviously all of these weddings, we try our best to mix in with all these other suppliers, don't we? All the time, whether they want to or not.
Yeah.
Sometimes, the selfie mirror people and all that, we're always on their case to try and get in their thing.
What a
And
phrase to put. The selfie mirror people.
Well, that's what they are, aren't they? They bring a selfie mirror. Do you know what I mean? The photographers.
There's those selfie mirror people.
Those pesky selfie mirrors. So we mix in with them all, don't we? And obviously we try and expand our network as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I love all the stuff that people bring to the weddings in between for their guests to make it interesting for the guests. So there's no lulls, there's no downtime, so obviously you get singers in, that type of stuff. But at a wedding at the end of August, we went to Sophie and Adams
At Knowsley Hall.
at Knowsley Hall. Little shout out Knowsley Hall. And there was a lovely girl there who, just to make sure I get it
Actual name correct.
perfectly correct,
Go and follow her on
name.
socials.
follow her on socials because she's really, really talented.
I love anything like this, by the way. When you see anything artistic at a wedding, that is like memorable for the
So
couple.
the
It's great.
person's name was Little Beth Illustration, all as one world. All as one world? Kind of is one world. All as
Josh's
one world.
world.
No hashtags, no nothing like that. Just Little Beth Illustration. Now,
It's not me, by the way. I wish.
not that Beth over there, but she basically sets herself up in a corner and people will walk past her, kind of like a selfie mirror type of thing, and she'll take a small image of them. But what she'll do in the time of the wedding is she'll create a small illustration of those guests, like if it's a couple or whatever like that. And she kindly did one for us, and I've got it right here.
We love
So-
anything like this. Absolutely
Because
love.
we do try and get on the selfie mirrors and all that now, don't we? Not
Yeah.
even if sometimes the selfie mirrors aren't the greatest, which sometimes they aren't.
Hey, we were in a camper van with Jess Lang on Tuesday night, and you were very jealous of that. So
I would be very jealous of that. But sometimes they're not the greatest photo formats, are they? Let's be fair.
yeah,
But this girl created this. I don't know if you can you
Being a
see
bit
that on here?
higher, a bit closer.
Is that in focus?
Back a little bit.
There.
beautiful.
Ourselves, the dream team, as we like to pretend to call ourselves, that no one else
I
does.
think we're just missing Matty there, aren't we?
We're just missing Matty. I think Matty would fit somewhere down here
Maybe.
nicely.
I think
Matty will
what
be there.
I think
Overshadowing us all like.
I think what we should do is for moving forward is think mementos from our travels through the weddings.
I'm
is-
bringing my fossil next week.
Bring your fossil next week.
Fossils
Which,
coming
remember
next.
That time when we went, was Jess Lang at that one? I think it was the first time I met Jess Lang. Actually, a lot of mentions about Jess Lang this week. You better listen to it.
She's just subscribed on YouTube actually. So
Well, do you remember when you got the cartoon drawings done?
yeah,
And there was a queue, wasn't there? There was an obvious queue. You were already in the seat, and I was waiting to be seen next.
it was the caricature, and basically
it's
he
like
was
a cartoon caricature.
he was sat, wasn't he, waiting for like the guest to be finished with the food, and we were just sat there. He went, come over, and while I'm just sat here doing nothing,
Yeah,
have a go, and then
Well, so they sat there, they got theirs done, great, lovely, got them back, and they're like, oh my god, yeah, made up. I was like, right, sad, I'll go next then, won't I? But by that time, the food had let out, so now all of the guests were coming out, weren't they, to like have their turn, and me being nice, I let them go before me.
that's not being nice. That is like
No.
their guest there to enjoy.
But I mean, like, I queued up.
like a Buffy.
It was my turn.
Yeah, girl.
Imagine someone walking in front of you in the Buffy, you'd be fuming. And that's basically what I let happen. So I am
Getting
nice.
the last chicken goose on.
But I thought, well, I'll just let these few go in and I'll get them on towards the end before we leave and stuff like that. And then, sadly, to my dismay, it never happened. And I left that wedding feeling very,
Like you missed out.
just, yeah.
Like
I
you missed out.
Like, sad.
But to be fair, I'll bring Carrick and George Jordan in, and to be fair, it's not a true representation as they always.
They never are, but that's the
they?
boss thing about it.
I don't think it is. It's not very complimentary. Like I was coming home feeling a bit self-conscious about certain parts of my face. Don't get me wrong.
I only had 2 biscuits tonight.
But obviously, coming to the end of the podcast this week, we've just mentioned what happens at the end of weddings. Again, if anyone's made it this far, listening or watching,
Well done.
well done.
Well done this week.
It's been a
Yeah.
painful one, horror one. Obviously, let us know your thoughts again about how you received us. Thank you to everyone as well for the first episode who watched and listened. We had so many people get in touch and give us the feedback. You know, you've had people telling yourself, right, how amazing the podcast was. Me just adding words in there, amazing. But yeah,
Did I?
no, but we did. We had lots
No,
of people.
feedback's always welcome. And like, obviously, we're just thankful that a few people have listened to it, and obviously,
Thanks, mum and dad, for watching and listening. Really appreciate
200
it.
times.
Getting them views up for us. No, but we're not doing it for that reason. We are doing it for, again, just for people to get to know us a little bit more and know that we are genuine people and real, and we're just as, unnatural in front of camera as... No, I'll
As
skip
the
that
next
bit.
person. No, I think that's true.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
hopefully
pretty sure.
next episode maybe we could try and get a guest speaker on. If not next episode, in the episodes to follow, we'll definitely obviously see who people want to get on.
Yeah. And as always, Ryan, do you want to do your little like and
I can never-
subscribe?
do you know what? That week when I done it,
You-
You
enough.
done so
I
well.
did. I watched it back and I was like, how'd you do that?
Like and subscribe and hit that
Like and
notification bell
subscribe,
below.
hit that notification. You've just done it.
Thanks, and see you on the next episode.